Morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're just going to give it a minute or two and let people trickle in before we get started. Good morning to those who are just hopping on. I'm just going to give it another minute, maybe a little less, and then we'll dive in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. So I think everybody in here is pretty familiar with the standard Zoom protocols, but you want to just take a moment to make sure you're on mute. Since this is going to be a smaller group, I think it's totally fine. If you have something to ask or share, you can just go ahead and unmute and share as we go. So please feel free to jump in and interrupt me if need be. Otherwise, feel free to utilize the chat box and we'll be monitoring that throughout the day as well. If you have any feedback or questions to share there. Next slide. And then, yeah, we went through this. So I'll just do a round robin and call names, but for intros, when your name is called, please share your name, your role, and the icebreaker question of the day is, what's one thing that always brings a smile to your face, no matter how tough your day has been? So to start off, the first on my list is Mary.
Hi, my name's Mary Rulowitz. I'm from Timberland Regional Library. I'm on the ELAC advisory board. What brings a smile to my face? Probably my dog, unless he's barking during a meeting. So, yeah.
All right. I'm never upset by a meeting being interrupted by a dog, if anybody was ever wondering. I do want to see the dogs. All right. Next on my list is Astrid.
Morning, everyone. I'm Astrid Newell. I use she, her pronouns, and I work for the Washington State Department of Health, and I am a member. One thing that brings a smile to my face, I'm sure there's many things, but the thing that popped in my mind was, just watching really cute videos of kids, little kids, yeah, funny, cute videos.
Thanks, Astrid. Next on the list is Lola.
Ait Squatchy Einik. Good morning. My name is Lola Moses. I'm an enrolled member of the Lower Awaklallam tribe. I am thankful to be a part of this program, and the thing that makes me happy is when I'm having a really hard day, I go into the baby room and I know exactly why I'm here. I know exactly why I'm here for the future, for my people, my children, and they just make me happy. They just make everything better. So thank you, Hotninson. Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
Thanks, Lola. All right, next on my list is Val.
Good morning, I'm Val Arnold. I'm with the ESID program. I'm the Part C state representative, a member of ELAC. And the one thing that always brings a smile on my face is any one of my 6 grandchildren's faces. Absolutely. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Val. Next on my list is Katie.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katie Chinisi. I am part of the Early Learning Division here at DCYF. And I would love to say my kids, but depending on the state of the house, they don't always make me smile. So I am going to go today with my dog because she is beautiful and chill and not barking. And yeah, she's making me happy right now.
Thanks, Katie. All right, next on my list is Debbie.
Hi, good morning. I'm Debbie Ham, and I'm here as a member representing Washington Communities for Children on the west side of the state. And I'll have to agree with Val. It's my 6 grandkids. They just light up my life. And so anyway, thanks.
Thanks, Debbie. Next on my list is Samantha.
Hello, I'm Samantha Masters, and I work for ACAN, formerly Children's Home Society of Washington, but I'm actually here representing the Home Visiting Advisory Committee. And I think something that always brings a smile to my face is I have a 16-year-old, so sometimes she can be the worst part of the day, but always at the end of the day, we just kind of have a routine at night where we spend time together, and she still, wants to make sure that I say goodnight and give her a kiss and all those things. So I would say that.
That's so sweet. Thank you. All right, next on the list is Jen.
Good morning, I'm Jen Sandvig. I use she, her pronouns. I'm here as a member representing the Washington Federation of Independent Schools. And the thing that recently has been bringing a smile to my face, no matter what, are random things with googly eyes. So there you go.
There's almost nothing that can't be made hilarious with some googly eyes. All right, next on the list is Isis, if she's back from grabbing a tea yet. If not, I can circle back.
Morning, Erin. Sorry. This is Isis Lara Fernandez, member representing school age seat. I work at Launch as an expanded learning director. And I am driving, but I think I gather that the question of the day is what brings me a smile. And I recently got engaged, so that's what brings a smile to my face.
Congratulations, Isis. That's so exciting.
Thank you.
All right. Next on my list is Colleen.
Morning, everyone. Colleen Condon. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a ELAC member as well as a regional advisor for the Inland Northwest Early Learning Alliance. And what always puts a smile on my face, I'm going to say my kids, but again, like temperamental, I have 2 boys, and so they're not always getting along. But those cute moments when they're like still playing with each other, especially like pretend play kind of stuff, because they're 7 and 9, so they're sort of getting past that. But they did that last night for like a few hours straight, and it was the cutest thing. I was just sitting in my office pretending to still work, listening to them in the living room. Because yeah, those moments are getting fewer and far in between.
Thanks, Colleen. Next on the list is Ryan.
Good morning, Ryan Guzman with OSPI's Early Childhood Special Education Division, and I'm a ELAC member. I honestly, it's easy. I have a lot of little fur babies, and by little, they're both, I have 2 Great Danes that are, I think, behind me right now. Yes, they are. So they match. They're Black and White Harlequins, and they're just the goofiest, most loving, chattery friends that you'll ever see. So yeah, my biggest shadows. And so hard days are good. I have an 18-year-old girl, so yeah, love her. But my dogs give me much more smiles than she does on a consistent basis. Love her.
Thanks, Ryan. I love Great Danes. They're such babies. Let's see. Next on the list, I have Deanne.
Hi, I'm Deanne Puffert. I'm a member, and what brings a smile to my face? The thought of my grandbaby, Ruby.
Thanks, Deanne. All right, next on the list is Charisse.
Good morning. My name is Charisse Rhodes. My role is I'm one of the parents on the parents advisory. Oh, is it group guild? I hate the acronym.
Group. Yeah,
Thank
group.
you. And then one thing that always brings a smile on my face, no matter how tough my day is my, and it's not all the time, but my 13, soon to be 14-year-old daughter, because of the fact that she's on the spectrum and she doesn't mean to be a comedian. She just kind of just says it how it is for her. And I'm not gonna lie, like I used to be that parent that used to apologize because sometimes people would find it insensitive. But now it's just like, I'm not gonna lie, like sometimes I wish that like I could just be so straightforward. Makes it interesting at school though sometimes where it's like, yeah, maybe she shouldn't. And then in the car it's like, wow, you really said that? Um, yeah. Please, no judgment.
I think that's a superpower for sure. Just the ability to be so clear about where you're at and what you're thinking. And yeah, I agree. I think it's way cool. All right. Next on the list is Claudette.
Hi, I'm Claudette Lindquist. I'm representing investing in children from the central part of the state. And something that brings a smile to my face is I'm semi-retired from professor at Heritage University, and planning future travel is making me smile.
That sounds amazing, Claudette. All right. Next on my list is Taylor.
Good morning, I'm Taylor. I am a member, and one thing that brings a smile to my face is recently at the arcade, I won a little solar flower. And so it's in my window, and it's always kind of just moving around, but when the sun really shines, it like really moves around and does a little happy dance. So it's just making me really excited for summer. So I would say that is the thing that brings a smile to my face.
That's awesome. Thanks, Taylor. Next on my list is Kathy.
Hi, I'm Kathy Carmen, and I am ELAC member center seat. So I'm sticking with the earlier theme of the day of offspring and pets. I'm going to combine them. The funnest thing for me at the end of the day, regardless of how my day is gone, is seeing the interaction of my 3-year-old granddaughter with our Great Pyrenees dog. So they meet face to face, and it's just hysterical. She runs and grabs bones for him and throws them, and he gets all excited, and it's just a fun thing, regardless of what my day's been like.
So cute. All right. Next on my list is Michelle.
Hi, everyone. Michelle Bittis, she, her pronouns, here representing the Office of Equity. Something that always brings a smile to my face is my dog, Rosie. She is a Bernese Mountain Dog Poodle Great Pyrenees mix. She's bumbly, goofy, and has lots of personality. So she always finds a way to do something to make me laugh.
That sounds like a goofy mix. Lots of fun. All right. Next, I have Cheryl. Oh, there's two Cheryls. Cheryl Freiberg is next on my list.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Cheryl Freiberg, and I'm the Executive Director for Betty J. Taylor Early Learning Academy, and I'm a member. And one thing that always brings a smile to my face is on Sundays when all of my grandchildren and great-grandchildren, which I have 22 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren, is when they come over and hang out for the day, which is almost every Sunday.
That's amazing, Cheryl.
I have one more each coming this year, so, August and September. I'm rich.
Yeah, and they hang out with you on the weekends. Look at you.
Yes. Let's see, all of them except for one live within 2 miles.
Oh,
yeah.
You are spoiled, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
My daughters live on each side of me, and that's 7, 8, 9. 9 of the grandkids live next door.
Don't say that too loud in front of my mom, because she
we building you a house.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. Next on my list is Cheryl Smith.
Good morning, everyone. I just arrived. I'm sorry I'm late, but I like this exercise. Wow, the other Cheryl, I'm so impressed. That it sounds like you are just very blessed and a wonderful person. Cheryl Smith, Department of Commerce. I'm a member. I would have to say I love hearing about the pets. It's amazing to be able to work at home these past few years. I have a little 9-pound Chihuahua who's getting pretty old. She's a rescue, and I've had her for about 10 years. I got her when she was 1. She's the most loyal little dog, and I think I'm not that great of a pet owner, honestly. I'm, in back-to-back meetings, I hardly pay attention to her, but she's so faithful and so loyal. And I keep trying to find just the right little bed for her. She's got a bunch of beds all over our house, but at my daughter's house, their dog has this bed that my dog really likes when we visit. So I tried to find a little mini version of it, and I got something kind of close. It arrived last night. I took it out of the box. I showed it to her. It's like 3 times her size. She thought it was a toy. She started growling at it and dragging it around the house. Like, oh my God, because I just bought her another bed the other day and she won't even touch it. And so it just made me smile so much because she's just so filled with joy. I think that we should all try to find the joy all day long, like these pets do, because it's possible, right? We're pretty fortunate.
Thanks, Cheryl. Yeah, I think the biggest winners of the pandemic were dogs, now that all their owners are home. I know my dog really likes it. All right. Next on the list is Waylon.
Good morning. I'm Waylon Ballou. I am a ELAC member. What's one thing that's always brings a smile to your face, no matter how tough your day is? Oh, okay. I think the one thing that brings a smile to my face, no matter how tough my day is that I always have my students wanting to give me hugs here at the program. So just seeing all these children here happy that they're in a safe environment, that's enough for me to bring a smile to my face.
Thanks, Waylon. All right, next on my list. So I think we just have some people from the CE team next. So Marlene.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Marlene White, and I'm the newest member of the community engagement team. I actually come from the early learning division. So I will be hopefully facilitating some of these meetings in the future. And something that brings a smile to my face, I would say, is my dog. He's a golden doodle, and he's really playful and really fun, and he's just really goofy.
Thanks, Marlene. And Jessica.
Morning, everyone. Jessica Spencer. I'm on the community engagement team, and I would say either a hug from my 7-year-old or my dog. She's a grumpy little schnauzer, but she's hilarious and very sweet.
And I think I got everyone. If anybody snuck in that I didn't catch, feel free to unmute. But for those of you who may not know me, my name is Erin Kerrigan. I am the Community Engagement Administrator here at DCYF. And shock of your life, my answer is my dog. And also everybody's dogs. I do a lot of dog fostering and dog rescue. So I just love, and it's really great being able to spend more time with my dog working from home. So really any dog, every dog that exists makes me happy. So not very original. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. We're going to be diving into this year's FSKA recommendation report process today. So just to kind of give you a high level overview of what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to just kind of go over a refresher of the background and where we're at. And we're going to kind of set the stage a little bit. And then you guys are going to be working with each other in breakout groups to kind of gather the initial information that we need to kind of kickstart this. So from the community engagement point of view, what I'm hoping to get out of this meeting is a lot of initial feedback from you guys that will help us develop a more detailed work plan for the next working session. So we're going to be asking you questions about what are the priority topics that you want to discuss and make sure that are included out the gate. What kind of questions do you have? What kind of data or information do you need from us in order to properly inform your recommendations? And we will take that and use it to develop a detailed work plan to make sure that we're hitting all of your priorities and that we have the right people at the working sessions to speak to the information or data that you guys need to inform your recommendations. Next slide. Okay, so as a refresher, the purpose of this FSKA recommendation report comes from the FSKA legislation. So annually, ELAC and DCYF in partnership together will be providing recommendations related to the phased implementation of strategies and priorities identified in Section 102 of the Fair Start for Kids Act. So in other words, the purpose of this report is to provide recommendations regarding the 27 strategies and priorities that are identified in legislation of Section 102. And I believe in the chat, we can drop, oh, there we go. Jessica just dropped in the chat a link to the document that outlines all 27 of those spending goals and priorities contained in Section 102. So obviously 27 is a big list, right? That the scope is really big of everything that's covered underneath those 27 strategies. Last year, what we ended up doing is we started out with kind of 7 broader categories that captured the scope of the 27. And as you guys kind of worked on your recommendations and hammered out the content, you guys kind of reworked the categories a little bit to fit the content of the report. And we ended up with 5 categories. And I think Jessica can drop a link to the 2023 report content that you guys can use as a reference. So the 2023 categories ended up being expanding, supporting, and strengthening childcare, provider recruitment, retention, and professional development, language access, funding grants and opportunities, and communications and engagement. So as some of you may remember, this list was kind of like a moving, breathing list as we worked on the report last year. You guys kind of adjusted the main categories to capture what was in your recommendations. So that's kind of like the framework we're starting with this year, just because that's what the 2023 report looks like. But I want to make sure everybody keeps in mind that these categories we can add categories, we can take some away, we can change some of the categories as we go to better match your recommendation areas. So if you have feedback on that today, that will definitely be something that we'll want to be capturing from you guys. But I do expect that it might play out similar to last year, where we start out with kind of a draft list of categories and then kind of go from there and adjust as necessary. So we just have a series of slides that captures the headline recommendations contained under each category from last year. So in the expanding, supporting, and strengthening childcare section, all the below bullets represent the different recommendations from the 2023 report. The 2023 report also goes into further detail on each of these recommendations, but this is kind of the high level review. We can go to the next slide. Here are the recommendations from 2023 under the provider recruitment, retention, and professional development category. We can go to the next slide. And here are all the recommendations that fell under the language access category from last year. And we can go to the next slide. And here are the recommendations under the funding and grant opportunities category. And we can go to the next slide for the communications and engagement category. You'll also have these what's on these slides. You'll have reference sheets within the Jamboard that you'll be working on today. So you will be able to pull these up. Also, if it's more helpful to view the full context, you can use the 2023 report link as a guide when you're providing feedback. All right, next slide. So here's an overview of the timeline that we have to work on this report. So we have today the initial kind of intro planning meeting, and then for the April, June, and August regular ELAC meetings, we'll be using that executive session time in the morning for report development. So that gives us an hour to have a check-in and feedback gathering during each of the regular ELAC meetings. And then in May and July and August, there will be dedicated report development sessions. Last year, we started out with a schedule a lot like this. I believe we ended up adding one more session as we went. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an option. If we get, to May and you guys are feeling like you might need more time, we can certainly add working sessions. So that's always an option. And I wanted to call out that we received feedback from a few of you guys, pretty consistent feedback, that something that you would like to see done differently this year is the final review process. So what I heard from you guys is you would have liked just one more opportunity to review the final draft that got submitted before it was submitted. And we received that feedback from a few of you. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I just wanted to call that out and make sure that you know that we heard that. We're definitely going to be incorporating that this year and just making sure that the review process goes a little more smoothly and that you guys do get a chance to review the final draft before it's submitted. I think just kind of time got away from us last year and that process didn't go as smoothly as it could have. So I just wanted to call that out. So I know this is kind of a lot of info all at once, but just kind of wanted to give the big picture overview of where we're at, what we're thinking. Before we kind of dive into the Jamboard and start gathering your feedback, does anybody have any questions, call outs, anything they want to share on what we've gone over so far? Deanne?
Yeah, one of the things I thought when I read the report just before coming to the meeting that I thought might be an interesting formatting consideration. I like the 5 groups. I think they're really effective, but I wonder if we might be even more effective if we chose a top 5 at the top of the report to put out as our top 5. If you could do these 5 things, just because I feel like we get so granular in the report that when I think about who our audience is, I wonder if doing something like that might more effectively highlight our main issues while still continuing to give the other issues. So it was just a thought that I had around making the report perhaps more effective to multiple audiences. So I'll just throw that out there as an idea.
Thanks, Deanne. Charisse, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, so I'm gonna say I appreciate the report in a couple of ways. One, because this is new to me, being able to see it from the start, to be able to, kind of give my input where it's not already rolling, where I feel like I'm having to catch up. And then 2, I love in the report that you guys don't just call out the need, but then you guys also give like quotes on why this is an issue. I think that a lot of times as a parent, it's like something is written in policy language where I feel that other people don't get the opportunity to understand like why this is harmful. Yeah, so I love that you guys had people kind of call out like why some of these things need to be changed and addressed. So
Thanks.
anything I would love to see different. I just love that like I'm on the beginning of the train and that you guys have like little quotes in there that call out what the issue is behind, whatever it is that we're trying to change.
Thanks, Trace. Yeah, CE cannot take any credit for that amazing idea. That was all you guys last year for those quotes. And I agree. I think it brought a lot to the report. Astrid?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm not trying to figure out how to how to say this, just in terms of thinking about so I know that that one of our tasks is to develop a report, but that feels like more that's a deliverable. But what is really needed are the recommendation. It's like a process of of both understanding the landscape and then making solid recommendations that reflect the perspectives of the diverse group here and other partners, and that the report itself is that's the product, but that's not the purpose. And so I just, you know, and I just kind of came in last session as just somewhat of an observer in the process, but I do wonder if there is a way that we could think more about the process of developing recommendations and less about like the formatting of the report. But that's just a perspective of, and I do know that some of the spending goals and strategies within the Fair Starts for Kids did not actually, there was no comments or no recommendations related to some of them, and have heard from partners that they felt like some things are missed. So anyway, just, I'm not sure exactly what that means, but
I think that's a really good call out, Astrid, because, you know, like we see in section 102, there's a ton of stuff in there, right? I mean, it would be great if you guys had the time and bandwidth to develop recommendations on every single item, but you know, you guys are going to ultimately have to make some decisions on what the priority recommendations are, what makes the most sense for you guys to include. But I do think it's a really important call out, Astrid, what you made, because just because we ended up with those categories in that general landscape of recommendations last year does not mean we have to go down that exact same path this year. If there are things that you've heard from the community or just feel on your own that should have been included last year that may have been a missed opportunity, that's great feedback, because we can make sure that those are on the radar to be addressed this time. But I think it's a good thing to keep in mind that there is a ton to the FSKA, right? So, you know, and it's also related to what you shared earlier, Astrid, where kind of the process of putting together a deliverable like this can kind of be a distraction in its own, right? And we become focused on the actual deliverable. And I think it's really important to kind of keep in mind how this fits into the broader goals of ELAC, of DCYF, of FSKA, and just kind of remaining mindful of that. That's something that we're also keeping in mind on the CE end, something that Marlene and I are hoping to get some guidance on from you guys today, is more information about those priority topics. And then that way we can make sure that either we're bringing the information you need to inform your recommendations, or we're bringing the right people here to talk about it with you guys. So to make sure that we're able to hit all of those priorities. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? All right. Well, if you guys are ready to go into breakout groups, so we're going to do breakout groups with just the DCYF staff does not need to be in any of them, Jessica, but I think maybe dividing everybody into 2 breakouts. We got, and if anybody wants to unmute and share feedback, we've gotten some recent feedback from members that they kind of prefer a bit larger breakout groups instead of groups of 3 and 4. That we've gotten feedback that they would like to see a little more people in each group. So we're kind of going with that unless you guys have a different opinion, but it looks like
I have groups at 6 and 1 group at 7, so 3 groups.
Okay, I think that works. Yeah, so we're going to send you guys out into breakout groups. Things that will probably be handy for you guys to have on hand is the section 102 doc link that's in the chat. Also, last year's report. We have also included links to those category write-ups within the Jamboard itself, so you guys will have access to those there too. But but we'll do initially, let's do, I think it'll probably take more than 30 minutes to get to everything, but let's start off with 30 minutes. And then at the 30-minute mark, we'll come back and just check in and see how much more time, if you guys need more time in the Jamboard. So, let's see.
All right, you guys will just want to make sure to grab the Jamboard link before going into your breakout room. But
Thank you, Jessica.
I'll open it now.
Hey guys. So just looking at the Jamboard, it looks like we might need more time in those breakouts, but I just wanted to kind of check in. One, do you guys agree that you need more time? Two, do you have any questions, or is there anything we can help out with?
For our group, I'm not sure more time would have been helpful, because I think the conversation was a broader conversation as opposed to the details so we had more questions about how the report has been used, the usefulness, the effectiveness, how it's connected to other things, as opposed to the details.
And that's really helpful feedback too. Yeah, any and all feedback that you guys have or questions that you guys have, big picture, small picture, please either include those in the Jamboard, or you can share them in a large group discussion. Either way, we will capture all of that. So I did see a few head nods when I mentioned more time. So, oh, Cheryl?
In our group, we were wondering about, we had the 102 form and then we had the recommendations, but is there a report that shares progress on any of those areas, or this is just for us to give recommendations about how that progress should go? Because do they already have money to do this work?
That's a good question. Yeah. So what we were hoping to get from you guys is kind of identifying like those key updates and data points that you guys want to prioritize, and just so that we will be able to come back with like the most relevant updates and information for you guys. I was just sharing when you guys are in the breakout group that in retrospect, I think it would have been helpful to provide at least like some brief blurb updates on some of the key pieces. What I was thinking about at the time is that I instead of getting in the weeds with everything we talked about last year, to have you guys kind of identify, these are the things we really want to hear about. This is the key information that I need to know before I can provide an informed recommendation. And then from there, we'll be able to connect with the relative internal folks to get that information, get those updates on your priority items. And then also providing some space just for your hot takes, for lack of a better term, of like what's coming. Like, do you have initial recommendations on this area that are on your mind right now that you kind of want to throw out there? So yes, I think what we're hearing from you guys is that kind of like itemized update would be helpful. So if the feedback from you guys is you want updates on all of it, and then we can sort through it from there, we can do that for sure.
I think that's what makes sense to us from our group, because that was a majority of our discussion.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, because looking at the list, and I've been in conversations on a few of those topics in different meetings, but I don't know what the outcomes of any of that is. And I think that's kind of what we want to know. So what work has been done so far, and what is the direction we want to go from here?
That makes sense.
Erin, in our group, we also talked about we had questions about how the report was used, who got it, did they talk about it? Was there any conversation about it? Where can we find it? Is it posted somewhere? All those kind of just a little bit more about the existing report and whether or not it was an effective, if it has created any action, or who got it.
I can definitely bring more details like tracking that. Astrid, I know that last year it was late, like, you know, we did push pause to kind of explore some alternative strategies for gathering feedback. So it was late. So I know that that sometimes does impact like what eyeballs actually end up seeing it and all of that. But I can connect with GA to get more detailed information on that. By GA, I mean the government affairs team. And then I also wanted to call out that we are working on getting the link like on the ELAC webpage so that it's on the landing page for ELAC just available. I won't bore you guys with inside technical details, but we're dealing with some technical process changes on our end as far as like just the process of getting things posted online. So we just have some like technical stuff we need to work through, but this will be on the ELAC landing page. There's just been a delay on that on our end for technical reasons. But at the very least, I can tell you that, and then I can have GA speak to the specifics of last year. But I do remember that it was late in being submitted, so I think that definitely does impact what specific eyeballs saw it. But I think also there were a lot of larger conversations from other groups and organizations providing similar feedback or, you know, feedback along the same lines. So I do expect that there are some meaningful updates to share on what has happened since last session. So we'll definitely get a legislative update on that piece for you guys.
Erin, is it possible for this report to be listed in the DCYF reports or on the DCYF reports page, or is this not considered a DCYF report, so it couldn't be there? I don't think it's there now unless I'm searching just really the wrong way, but it doesn't appear to be on the DCYF reports page, and I'm wondering if it's not allowed to be.
That's a good question, Olivia. And that also kind of goes into what I mentioned earlier. There's some like technical upgrades and changes to process that we're navigating right now. So don't take this as like 100% fact, because I might not have all the facts, but I know that the process for classifying and organizing DCYF legislative reports is new. I'm under the impression that this would count. Because it is a joint report between ELAC and DCYF. So I think theoretically it should be on there, but let me speak to the GA team. There might be a totally valid reason it would be under a different qualification, but I'll take that back and get the answer on that for you.
I'm not able to obviously speak for this body, but I would imagine that most of the people in this group, maybe this is worth discussing, but would like to advocate for wider distribution and access of the report so that you don't have to go to the meeting minutes to find it. But yeah, someone can correct me if that's not something everyone else is feeling.
I know that at least CE feels the same way, Olivia, that that would be easier for everybody involved. And we, like I said, there are like some revamps going on. Some of them make it a little harder for us to get everything on the website, but it's in the interest of building a more consistent process in the back end. So there might, I would expect the information online right now might not be totally complete, but I agree. I think, and I don't see why it wouldn't be considered just a DCYF report, but I'll get an answer on that. And I also think it's important that these are published in a more timely manner, easily found, and it's something that ELAC members in particular can go grab if they need. All right, so do you guys want to jump back into the breakout rooms for another 15 minutes to get to those, the rest of the Jamboard pages?
This is Val. I'm wondering if we might take a quick break and then jump in,
Sure.
if that would work for folks.
I'm seeing thumbs up. All right. How about, do you want to take 8 minutes? We can come back at 10:30 and then you guys can jump back into the Jamboard for a few minutes. All right. Sounds good. We'll come back at All right. I'm not sure if everybody's back yet. But we'll give everybody a minute, another minute to trickle on back in, and then we will open up the breakout groups for another, let's do 15 or 20. Does anybody have an opinion on that? Okay, let's do 20 minutes. All right, Jessica, when you're ready, you can go ahead and send them.
And we're going back to the same exact group, correct?
I believe so.
Most
Okay,
people
thank you.
are. We lost a few. So I moved Debbie to room 2 and Deanne to room 3.
Okay.
But everyone else is the same.
Yeah, Astrid had to hop off, but she's going to be back, so we'll just add her to a breakout room when she returns.
And I
Okay,
actually
great.
just joined. I had
Okay.
a meeting this morning that I couldn't get out of. So
Welcome. All right. So Jessica, we have, yeah, you could assign Heidi as well.
Yep. Okay.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. So before we move on, how are you guys feeling? Do you feel like you need more time? Are you ready to move on to a large group discussion, or just in general, does anybody have anything to share about what came up in their breakout groups? All right, and I know we've had some people have to drop off as other meetings have come up, and they've had to hop off. So for this next piece, I kind of wanted to put it to you guys. I have some kind of broad discussion prompts on the screen of some feedback that we were hoping to hear from you guys. We also have this in a Survey Monkey that Jessica put in the chat. So I was gonna leave it to you guys whether you want to have a large group discussion about these pieces, or if it would be more productive for you to just provide this feedback via Survey Monkey sometime between now and next week. If you feel like you would like a little more time to to think and reflect before providing more feedback. Just whatever works best for you guys. And something I also meant to call out at the beginning of the meeting is that that we don't need to take all of the time today. Looking at what we had mapped out, I was guessing that we'd have some wiggle room today. So if you guys wanted to hang out and kind of talk about these prompts in a large group and bounce ideas off, we have a full hour, we can do that. Or if you would like to just kind of wrap it up and then come back to these via the survey, we could do that too. And Olivia has a suggestion in the chat box. Can we utilize both large group discussion and Survey Monkey to engage others who are not here? Yes, that is a good call out, Olivia. What we would do is send out the Survey Monkey to everyone. So along with the materials, so people who may not have been able to make it can provide their feedback. So we'll be doing that regardless. So everybody will have an opportunity to provide their feedback in the survey. And Jen's saying that she would prefer the survey as well. So just to kind of wrap up at least my thoughts on next steps. So what I'm hearing from you guys initially is that you would like legislative updates on all of the pieces from 2023. We'll work on getting that to you ASAP. So I'm hoping to get that to you well before we meet again, just so that you guys have that information to review and think on. So we'll definitely get to work on that. And then on top of that, all of the feedback that we received today and in the survey is going to inform how Marlene and I set up the agenda for the next working session. So, you know, I'm hearing we definitely want somebody from GA to come talk through some of the specifics of the report. We'll be getting written updates for you guys on all the major elements from the 2023 report as a starting point there. And then any additional feedback will inform kind of the specific discussion points that we're going to focus in on in the coming work sessions. I also want to call out that there's never a bad time to share feedback on any of this. So obviously it's great to have these working sessions, but if you have any feedback to share at any time that you want to kind of throw in the hat here and make sure it's on the record for this project, that's something that you can send in anytime, and we're always happy to receive it. So I'll just pause here. If anybody has, oh, I see a hand up, Olivia.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to, I'm not sure if there was an opportunity in a previous breakout session, and I was kind of managing a work issue today, so I apologize if I missed the opportunity, but I've been personally attempting to call all of the licensed childcare providers in Pierce County. And on the language access issue of the 2023 report, my personal experience and engagement with the providers is that it's not always whenever they're calling DCYF that they need language translation, that there is just a huge need for them in engaging as a business and as a provider through other people that are calling them and other ways that they need to be engaging in the community. And the burden on our providers without having translation services that are not just because they're doing business with DCYF. And I just wanted that to share that experience. And I think for them, it's just a huge burden for our providers that have language barriers. And it's not always whenever they're engaging with DCYF that they need the translation. It needs to be more broadly offered for them to be supported and successful. And I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts on that, but I really wanted to bring that perspective to this meeting today. And I don't know if this is the right place to share it, but I wanted to make sure to do that.
Yeah, it for sure is. Yeah. That's a great call out, Olivia, that we will definitely take note of, to put that on the radar, that we need to be thinking about just a little more broadly about all the different ways that providers need to engage with different organizations, agencies, and their community in order to be successful. So that should be factored in and not just limiting it to the direct interactions with DCYF. We'll definitely note that.
Like the uplift to like what Olivia said for providers, also for parents. I think there are a lot of families not accessing care because there's language barriers to understanding what's available, even if it's just working connections, home visiting, all of those programs. I think that that is an area that we can definitely improve too. And then I have one request. I entered a couple of quick thoughts on the Survey Monkey because I didn't want to forget them, but I submitted them and now the Survey Monkey won't let me submit a new one. Could you guys change that so that you could put in multiple submissions?
Jessica, is that something you can tweak on the back end? I actually don't know.
Probably. I don't think there's a setting, but I'll look.
Okay. Yeah, we'll try
I
to
can
fix
also
that.
just email you, Erin.
Yeah, that also works. All right. Does anybody else have any thoughts to share, any feedback to share?
I really,
Oh, go ahead, Cheryl. Go ahead, Cheryl. We're in the same group. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I really do support the FISCA recommendations about mental health. But I was also thinking that for tribal programs, it's, how do I say it? It's difficult to reach out off the reservation. So I'm not quite sure how effective that process is for tribal programs. Here we have 3 mental health workers that work on site and they are busy. And I mean, this whole social emotional issues after COVID and more autism and different things that are going on. But I don't think that tribes are going to easily reach out for those services, and they need the services. There's 29 tribes, and I'm not quite sure how well they will access however it's set up. So just a comment.
Thanks, Cheryl. Val, did you have something you wanted to share as well?
Yeah, we in our breakout group, we talked about several really important strategies, but one that I wanted to raise here, I'm not sure if I was unable to put something on the Jamboard, but one of the things that we talked about was the importance of prioritizing funding for early care providers who have children with special needs that are with them full-time, 5 days a week, and funding to support them to be able to engage on-site in their own center with itinerant practitioners coming in, for example, from the ESIT program to provide early support services in that natural care setting for working parents. For working parents enrolled in our ESIT program. So their services, home is not a home-based services isn't viable for them without, taking leave without pay to try to come home in the middle of the day to do a visit. When really those infants and toddlers are in loving, warm, kind settings already, and our ESIT practitioners could be working with the children and their primary care provider in those sites. But there's some additional supports that are needed in order for that to work well in those environments, and for the child care partners to be able to maintain their adult-child ratio requirements and just things of that nature. So I just wanted to share that.
Thanks, Val. We'll make sure that's added to the compiled feedback along with what's in the Jamboard. Astrid sharing in the chat to maybe consider aligning the categories of the recommendations to the early learning coordination plan 5 outcome areas. And Astrid, what we can do is we'll make sure to include a link to information about those 5 outcome areas in the minutes so that people will have the context for that suggestion.
Karen, to add to that, that was actually the suggestion I submitted. Astrid brought that up in our small group, but I also think that it would be potentially a good exercise for this group to do together, to have those outcome areas and to pick how those match the categories, because I think that there be some great conversation there, and we may recognize we do in fact want some change of the categories, or maybe we're able to align those things, but really want to make sure we're utilizing the tools that have already been created, and that plan has such great structure and intentionality with it already. I think it could really help support this, and I think it'll make our report so much stronger to show that there is all of that alignment already there. So I'm not sure that everybody is willing, but I do think that it may be a good exercise for this group to actually go through and do that collectively, rather than expect you guys to just go pick and choose what goes where. Not that I don't trust your judgment, but just think it could really help with the work.
Yeah, I love that idea, Colleen, having maybe like a structured activity, structured feedback gathering exercise that around those the 5 outcome areas. I'm looking at them now. I think that there's obviously a lot of potential to align here. So we're definitely taking note of that. And I think that's something that we can do. That seems like maybe it would be a good activity for the executive session for the April ELAC meeting. You know, take that hour to talk about this and have kind of a structured, you know, maybe having some structured feedback around aligning those things.
Yeah, I agree with Astrid and Colleen, and Ryan just let us know she had to go, but in our small group, Ryan was in ours, and she spoke to that exact same thing as well, and was acknowledging that there's been a lot of intentionality with the early learning coordination plan to make sure that it doesn't appear that it's just one lead agency's responsibility for something, that it's not just focused on DCYF, but it's a plan that is that like the community's own, right? And so being able to attach this work and align it with the early learning coordination plan was something that there was a lot of interest in, for sure.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I know some people are having to trickle off, which is totally fine. I'm just assuming most people on the call are at least somewhat familiar with this already, but I'm just throwing a link to that early learning coordination plan outcomes page in the chat. All right, does anybody else have anything they'd like to share for the large group discussion? All right. Well, you guys have certainly given us a lot to work with already, so thank you for that. And we look forward to getting the rest of your feedback on the Jamboard and the survey, which we will be sending out. And we'll keep that open for probably a week or two, just to give folks some time. And like I said, the next time we'll be checking in on this is during the executive session for the April ELAC meeting. So I think it would be a really good time to check in about maybe exploring the possibility of aligning the report with the early coordination plan outcomes, so we can kind of put some information together and be ready to talk about that, as well as provide you guys with those updates that you requested. So we'll get to work on that, and then hopefully that means we'll just be ready to hit the ground running for the next session. And yes, please do take a moment to fill out the Mentimeter. And we'll just give you guys a couple minutes to share your input there. And otherwise, I just want to thank everybody for their time, for making time for this. I know it's a really busy week for a lot of people, so I appreciate it. You'll be hearing from us in a follow-up email with some the survey and an invitation for feedback. And then otherwise, we will see you guys on April 9th, which is the next ELAC meeting.